So let's see if I can get it done correctly. Let's play. Rockwall County Game Day. We're here with quarterback Landon Locke. Landon, what a great win for this team, and what a night! All the elements, everything. Can you just talk about the energy the team had in this game?
I mean, we brought all the energy. We know they were going to bring energy, but we knew we had to be at our game. I think it was a great team win. I think it shows how the future is going to be.
I want to ask you about Tristan Gooch. You get a lot of weapons, a lot of guys that can make plays, but he's been making some big ones lately. Can you just talk about him and that last play to the throwback there?
Man, that's actually a play we pulled off JV last year. We ran it a little bit, but he's a playmaker, man. Hard work pays off, no doubt.
The offensive line and what they did, Ashton with a breakout game, how tough those guys were running the ball tonight.
Man, it's a blessing to have Ashton, Parker, and Jameer. Those three guys can just go run, and it's a blessing to have the guys up front that are willing to just go tempo and just work their butts off and just win every snap.
What was the message this week after you guys drop a tough game and come back for this one?
Win on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and that should set us up pretty well.
Hey, Landon, enjoy the win. Have a good weekend. Thanks for the time.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
So there you go, Mr. Landon Locke for the Rockwall Yellow Jackets talking about their big win over Prosper, who came in ranked number 8 in the state, number 9, depending on which ranking you look at. Before I dive in that game, I can't believe, and I want to talk about some rankings really quick. And this is Dave Campbell's, and I push their stuff out because I believe them. I'm starting to wonder like how big they're getting over there and who's doing. Like, is Greg Tepper doing these anymore? Like, who's doing them, or are they so big that they've stopped delegating? But the Rockwall comes into the year ranked 17. They drop a game to Dallas Jesuit in the last minute, and it turns out I think Jesuit's a pretty decent team, and their quarterback's lighting it up all over the place. But regardless, they lose the game. They drop out of the top 25. Okay. But then they go play ranked Prosper, who's in the top 10. They beat Prosper. So Dave Campbell's takes number 9 Prosper and drops them completely out of the top 25 and doesn't put Rockwall back in. I'm trying to figure out how that makes sense to anybody. And rankings are for us. I know the coaches don't care. I know the players don't care. But they're for us. And I'm sitting there looking at it. I'm like, how in the world does that make sense? And how do you give up on Prosper that quickly to just say, oh, they're done, they're out of the top 25? And looking at that list, granted, I don't know a lot of teams on that number 25 to 17, but you can't tell me that Prosper isn't one of the best teams in the state. And certainly if Rockwall's capable of winning that game like they did, they're certainly worthy enough to be in that top 25. I don't know. That's just my thoughts on rankings.
I'll say it so you can stay in good graces with them. I think that's an absolute clown show.
Yeah.
Because it's almost like the RPI rankings in baseball.
Yep.
I mean, you're making people truly believe that they have some type of power in understanding all the rankings, and they don't even go to the games.
Yeah.
So they're listening to somebody that, and I hate picking on colleges, but it's just real. It'd be like asking a Longhorn where they're ranked, right?
Right.
Not being me, my granddad graduated from UT, but at the end of the day, if you ask a Longhorn where they're ranked, I mean, they're going to tell you in the top 10 all the time, right? And I think that occurs with these little pockets of people that are sitting around these high school arenas. Hey, what do you think about that game this week? And they give one opinion and they drop people out. They have no idea how to rank. I think they mean about as much as a youth football ranking. And it's real. I mean, don't put any weight in it. Just go out there and play. And that both coaches on both sides are saying that same thing.
Exactly.
But it's just terrible that the people that don't know football are truly looking at someone that is supposed to be the pinnacle of showing us who people are in football. I mean, they have a magazine out, for God's sakes. It's been out forever. And they're telling people these things, and people are believing it, and they don't even understand football. Rockwall losing the way they lost was not a big deal in football. That stuff happens all the time.
Right.
And then this Prosper thing kicking them. I mean, are you kidding me? Like, they should still be ranked. But it is what it is.
In 2001, like we just talked about, in 2001, Commerce Tigers, brand new coach, unranked, 14-2, win state. Never ranked. Not one time were they put in the top 25.
Yeah.
Not one time. And they went out there and they beat the snot out of everybody they played.
Because who are they going to call, let's be real, in Commerce that's going to give them any opinion? they didn't have anybody in Commerce to give them an opinion. They were still calling Texarkana. You know,
Yeah.
I'm not being. I love
Yeah, yeah.
Texarkana,
Well,
but that was back with Texas High.
They didn't give anybody any credit because Lineweaver left. Lineweaver left in '99. Then you had a new coach. When Cron come up from 2A. The only
Right.
thing is, the thing the man did was won a state championship in 1A, 2A, and 3A, becoming the first coach to ever do it.
And this isn't specific to them. So I
Right.
mean,
Oh,
if
yes.
they
Yeah,
were,
no.
it isn't specific. Any ranking out there
No.
has so many people involved that have no idea about the game.
It reminds me,
And that bothers me.
You're the baseball guy. It reminds me of AAA, AA, majors. This. I went and took my little team one time. We took them to Louisiana. I called the tournament director. I said, all right, look, we're a really good AAA team. We're not a majors team. I said, how do y'all rank us? He goes, Coach, here's how we do it down here. We just tell the boys to lace it up, and we play baseball. That's how you got to do it. I don't care if you're number 1, if you're number 100. You go out there and you win that last game of the season, you're state champ. It doesn't matter if you were ranked.
Yeah,
later.
no,
Who
no,
cares?
it doesn't. But obviously, it gives us something to talk about up
Oh,
here,
it-
and it gives me something. It gives
Got
me
us fired
something.
up a
To,
little bit.
Yeah.
It gets my heart rate going because I mean, you know, you're just having Tyson come off missing a playoff opportunity this year in college because somebody in the RPI
Oh,
world
God.
thought that since we swept OU that we weren't as good as OU, even though we beat them in our own Big 12. We win more games than them.
Yeah.
But somebody somewhere behind a computer
Highway
put this
robbery.
little thing together that said, oh, 36 wins isn't enough. Oh, but let's let in a 17-win team. Why not?
Exactly.
Like,
Exactly.
well, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
So rankings and Brandon don't get along very well.
Yeah. Again. Yeah.
I want head-to-head action, and then I'll tell you who's
Yeah.
better.
Lace them up and let's go.
Well, hey, like I said, you know, they get a big win. I called it. You know, hey,
You did
I
call
loved
it.
I loved to pat myself. I was on this show, and I said, hey, they're going to win this ball game. I thought that it was I know nobody wants to lose. I thought it was a great game to lose early in the season like that against Jesuit because they walk into the stadium different. They don't walk in thinking, hey, we're 2-0, we're ranked number 17, and we move up to 14 or whatever. We walk in, we lose this game, we're refocused, and now it's like, okay. This is what happens, you know, when maybe we fall asleep for a second, or we think we're up in this game and we should win, right? You know, now they come into the game and they're like, okay, it's time for us to make a statement. It's time to play Rockwall football. And all credit to Prosper, they're a really good team. They did everything to win that football game. Rockwall racks up 541 yards, 301 yards rushing, led by Mr. So my goodness, he's gonna kill me for forgetting Ashton Henry to over 201 yards. You know, I got so many names in my head, but you know, they Parker Williams, almost 80 yards. They do it all. We know about their special teams. They've got the two-headed monster at quarterback with Mason Marshall and Landon Locke. You know, they can pretty much interchange them at will. You know, Mason's he's especially running the ball. They can do some things to get him to keep the defenses, you know, honest. You know, Rockwall is a really good football team. If you've listened to me on the show, if you guys have certainly heard me. Like I believe I'm really high on Rockwall this year, and I've said it. I think they're ready to take the next step. Professor Diggs, Matt Diggs, you know, on Twitter, he's like, I need you to publicly define what take the next step is. And I said, oh, that's beat DeSoto or Duncanville, whoever they have to match up against. I believe that much in the coaching staff, and I know they've got players, right? And you know, you can Tristan Gooch. You know, I mean, I can't. You know, that guy, that kid is just having himself a year. But you know, besides him, you got Kai Helton, you got Matthew Young. You know, you've got weapons all over the field for Rockwall. That was just an exciting game. The weather was absolutely nuts. The wind was blowing like 40, and then it would stop, and then it was raining, and then it'd pick up again to 40. You know, it was just you could just see that both teams, they blocked all that out and they went to work, and you saw two big time programs go at it, and you know, it was a great win for Rockwall. I think you know, they play tomorrow night at home, and they're gonna play a South Grand Prairie team that you know, is 0-3. They should win that game, but you know, I was talking to Coach Brooks, and Coach Brooks said it. Hang on a second, I lost my video. Hang on.
Hey, hang in there with us, guys. Audio wise, I think we're still up and rolling. So I'd like to say, they say two-headed monster at quarterback. Man, I think they also have a little two-headed monster at running back. Ashton, I don't know him personally, but I know that he's an incredible running back. I've seen some of the highlights and stuff that he's got. But when you look at the number 22, Parker Williams, I've known that kid since youth football in the RYCA, and I knew then that he would be a great high school football player because of he is not willing to quit. Like, there is nothing in him in any play where he's going to give up.
Yeah.
And if you think that kid isn't about to hit a home run, he's fixing to hit one. He actually wants you to tell him that he's not going to hit a home run so he can.
You talking about Ashton?
No. I'm talking about Parker.
Oh, yeah, Parker Williams.
That's kind of a two-headed running back on the backside. Like, nobody – they talk about the two-headed quarterback. They don't ever give really – Williams any props. And
he was the MVP of the Jerry Jones Classic, I'll tell you that.
that dude right there will go.
Yes.
And he will give you everything he's got. And so when you've got two quarterbacks that are giving you something and you've got two running backs that are giving you something, and then like you said, Kai, they moved in and got in the RYCA. I mean, like the first year I think that they came in, those kids can all go.
Yeah.
So they've got a whole repertoire, and they haven't really got anybody hurt yet, right? And, And that's a big deal. High school football, next man up mentality. People talk about it all the time, but when your next man doesn't have to come up, that makes you so great and so fresh. And there's nobody. I would venture to say there's nobody in the league right now in this 6A that we're in that has a second running back at the level that Rockwall has a second running back.
Right.
Well, and quarterback. So you got, I think Rockwall is probably one of the only schools that's got that depth. I know, out of Roy City, we don't have that depth yet. But, and I think if they're ready to step up and go to the next level, I think this is a great district to do it because there's no real cream puffs in this district. So it's competitive week after week after week. Yeah, they should take care of South Grand Prairie, but they're not in our district. That it is what it is. They should take care of business. But
have we looked at numbers to see like if Rockwall, if they win, if Heath, if they win, if they're going to have to be big 6A or if they have a chance to be small 6A? Because
I don't know what the I don't know what the numbers are right now.
That's something that we should look at because I know for Roy City wise, regardless, we get in, we're going small,
right?
But I'm not sure it's Heath that has the lower.
Yes.
I think Heath will be lower because like Horn.
I think they have I think they could be.
Yeah.
It depends on who wins.
Yes.
But I think Rockwall's going to have to be big regardless.
Right.
Which
I think they went big last year.
Which would mean Duncanville, top mentality. And
yeah.
so
they ended up they played.
We went two.
But they played
DeSoto.
DeSoto. They played DeSoto the last 2 years, I believe. Rockwall did.
Yeah, they're going to have to be D1. I think Rockwall's going to have to be
We played
D1.
DeSoto last year.
Did you? Okay.
Well,
yeah.
no.
Oh yeah, yes, you did. Yeah.
We showed up. They kicked off, and then we just watched them play because that was.
Did you see their?
that team was
before we'll get
amazing.
back on Rockwall, they've got a kid that's like he's a junior. He's like 6'8", 340. DeSoto, an offensive lineman.
I saw him last year. The helmet didn't fit.
Oh my goodness,
it was
this
a different color.
But back on Rockwall, I think hey, they've got a. Coach Brooks talked about it. Hey, this team they're 0-3, but if you looked at the teams that they've played, I think they're combined like 8-1 or 9-1. Y'all played them, right? Yeah. Did y'all South Grand Prairie? The
No,
football?
we played Grand Prairie.
Oh, Grand Prairie, yeah. So they're 9-0. The teams that played South Grand Prairie, right? So they've played some really good teams, and so maybe the 0-3 record is just product of who they've played, and so they've they just can't go to sleep. They should win this game. Obviously, you want to see again them improve just like all the other teams, and I think for them, offensively, we know what they are. We know they're going to score points. It's defensively, you want to see them get better each week because that's the key there. If they figure it out on defense, and they're giving up 10, 14, under 20 points a game, then they're going to win a lot of football games.
They'll beat you.
I think Rockwall has no issue this week whatsoever. I think this is a perfect game for them to come out, fine-tune that offense, tune up that defense, and slide right on into district. I don't expect them to fall asleep whatsoever.
Yep.
They're at home. I see no problem whatsoever. I think this is a perfect game for Rockwall to fine-tune whatever little things that Coach Brooks needs to work on. I think they figure that out this week. And
all the armchair quarterbacks are telling me he needs to work on his defense. So But he would tell everybody that they when they do selection of who's on offense and who's on defense, they call it single platooning, and when they platoon, they lean generally towards the offensive side. And I mean, I don't know as much about the room after Webb left, but I know Webb is always leaning towards the offensive side. So if they can score 70, they only have to keep you from scoring 70. So 69 works. And
Yeah,
that's just the way they're set up. Where some of these programs are set up to be defensive, they're really set up to be offensive. And the next up guy is generally just as good.
yeah. Tristan Gooch, the junior, who is quite the soccer player. He's an athlete, but 456 yards through 3 games, and 5 touchdowns. They can, you can try to remove Gooch from the equation, but that's when Kai and Matthew Young are gonna come in there and do some damage as well. Of course, we talked about the running backs. They're just fine tuning and just kind of cleaning up some things to get ready for the I-30 Classic.
Was Gooch the one that caught that ball laying down on the ground?
Mm-hmm.
So kind of slipped and then just waited and then threw hands.
Yeah, I don't know if he slipped or he made a play to go adjustment
right.
to go back. It depends on how you look at it. From the shot that it was a great catch no matter what. And
it'll probably in the playbook this week. You watch.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, yeah. I mean, hey, Locke can throw it where he wants to.
Exactly.
He can hit his spots, and so can Mason. They're really set on that. So the Yellow Jackets. They're just keep on doing their thing. They're going to be fine. They're going to be a team. Obviously, I think we all said it. We think that they're at the top of the district at the moment.
Yep.
Heath can change all that in a couple of weeks, right? But for the moment, they look really good and they'll be ready to go. Just really quick before we move on, anybody